The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Kovair webinar entitled ALM, the Agile Way with Kovair, with the subtitle Kovair Agile ALM. First of all, let me welcome a number of companies and individuals from India and from Australia. Thank you very much for attending. If I missed any other region, I do apologize, but I welcome each and all of you to this webinar, and I hope you get a real sense of what a functional product Kovair is in the field of Agile ALM. So the presenters today are myself, Dr. Richard Satus, and my partner, Soumanil Chowdhury, will be actually doing a demonstration of the product. So I will talk at the top level and give some overviews of Kovair as an ALM tool for Agile. And by ALM, obviously, we mean Application Lifecycle Management. And then Soumanil will actually go through a fairly comprehensive demo. So first of all, what is Kovair? Well, first of all, Kovair is multiple applications in one box. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, first of all, from an Agile perspective, there is, of course, the Agile development platform. There is the Agile development workspace and everything that goes with Agile. But in addition to that, we have a number of other applications that are obviously very key to the development life cycle, and for that matter, any product life cycle. And these would include things like help desk management, test, change, release, etc. So Kovair are all of those applications in one neat box. The other thing is that it's an industry-leading process automation technology. By that we mean it has a very, very powerful workflow engine, what we call the omni-process workflow. So, for example, out of the box, we supply a number of process models and process workflows that you can use for things like sprints and so forth. But needless to say that you can actually customize it for your own benefit. In fact, you can even create your own processes. So it's a very powerful process flow engine. We also have something called the Enterprise Service Bus Integration Technology. As I mentioned in point one, Kovair is multiple applications in a single box. But nevertheless, as a company, no doubt you have your own third-party tools for development, testing, quality control, etc. And so you would like a product that can integrate to those products, those third-party products. And in fact, the third-party products can actually be your own internal systems that you yourself have created. And in fact, Kovair has a very strong technology, what we call the Omnibus Integration Bus, that allows you to connect to these third-party tools. So not only do you get multiple applications in one box, you also get that very powerful integration to your own third-party tools. Finally, Kovair is a platform that allows you to build your own applications. So for example, you could build your own unique forms to trap information. You can also put some very sophisticated formula and rules behind these forms, therefore creating your own applications. So not only does Kovair supply you with the applications you require, but if you need to create your own applications like calculators, estimation tools, and so forth, you can within Kovair. So Kovair products basically are basically bridged by a Kovair single repository. So all the information exists in a single repository. The two main tools are the ALM Studio and the ITSM Studio. And using our Omnibus integration middleware, we combine a Kovair IDE, a Kovair configuration tool, a Kovair modeling tool, and a test automation tool. Not only do we supply you all that, but again, we supply you with the ability to build adapters to external tools as well. The Kovair delivery models come in two flavors. One of them is on-premise or perpetual licenses, and the other one is software as a service. So if you want to dabble, for example, as an initial step, you can go down the SaaS or software as a service model. And when you reach a much more substantial stage and you want to start building your own applications, you want to do far more developed integrations, then you would typically go with the on-premise perpetual licenses. But in any event, you get access to both models. We have a number of customers, and as you can see, if you look at these list of customers, a few of them clearly stand out, one of them being Infosys as an example. This clearly demonstrates that not only is Kovair a very good tool, but it has enterprise authentication. So we have references that speak very highly of Kovair as an application platform. So what are the advantages of using Kovair for Agile ALM? Well, first of all, you start with a workspace out of the box. So you are customizing the workspace. You don't necessarily need to create your own. You can start with ours. Sorry, I've just noticed there's an issue with the slide, so I might just restart the slide. So I apologize. I'm going to have to restart this PowerPoint presentation because clearly there was an issue with that slide. So just bear with me, please. Okay, so we can report on any entity. So what does that mean? Well, Kovair treats data elements as entities. So because we treat each element as an entity, we can report on it. Not only can we do that, but we can now report between entities and their relationships between entities. Therefore, we have a high degree of traceability. So for example, if you want to report on, say, user stories, but with respect to, say, backlog items or estimations, we can. So you get that high degree of traceability. And that'll be one of the features that Soumanil will actually demonstrate in the demo. We also apply the process flows to match your company's methodologies. So once again, if our process flow out of the box does not match, and we will show you an example of one, and you need to modify it, you can. You can customize or create from scratch. We also have complete versioning. We also manage, with Kovair, we can now manage projects, teams, and individuals across the globe in real time. And we call this distributed agile, incorporating asynchronous collaborations. What that means is you're not restricted by geography anymore. You can now have teams that are distributed around the world. And these teams and individuals can be working on separate sprints or separate sprints or projects or deliveries. And so Kovair as an ALM is very powerful in managing that distributed environment. We can integrate with your own third-party and company-specific tools. We create forms, as I said, so you can create it. You can actually build your own applications in Kovair. We can create user permission structures to suit your scrums and sprints. So depending on the sprint, you can have a different level of permission. We can also manage resources across and therefore across projects efficiently. So once again, because we encourage and can manage a distributed agile environment, we can also manage those efficiencies as well. And finally, being a company that has been around for a long time with, as I say, a number of very key references, we supply nothing less than 24/7 support. So typically, if we look at an agile platform or an agile structure, you'll normally have themes and epics including features, user stories, and tasks and backlogs. Kovair treats these as entities, and therefore we can build this and other structures within Kovair. And for the example today, the demo we will do today, we will specifically look at epics, user stories, and backlogs. And the reason for that is because given the short period of time, we want to concentrate on certain features within Kovair. So if you look at the typical Agile SDLC model, you will select a project, you will initiate a project, you will have levels of iterations of a construction, you release a project, there will be a production cycle, and then retirement. Kovair ALM and ITSM combined to manage all of these phases of the Agile ALM. Now we will be mainly demonstrating Kovair, in fact we will only be demonstrating Kovair ALM, but if you wish to see the ITSM component, that being the IT services management, we can arrange a separate demonstration. So if we look at the Agile system development lifecycle, a typical one, then Kovair will manage entities, Kovair will do the project initiation, Kovair will allow you to track your project features and backlog items, and Kovair will allow those backlog items to be released for things like sprints. So once again, leading into a sprint, Kovair will manage the backlog items and add new ones. Kovair will allow you complete versioning control. Kovair will manage your Scrum meetings and the backlog items that are gathered, both existing and new. Kovair will manage your sprints with its very powerful process flow engine. Kovair, using omnibus integration, will allow you to integrate to your own testing modules and platforms. Kovair will allow you to track all of your backlog, giving you full traceability. Kovair will allow you once again to gather all of your items based on your iterations and feedbacks. And Kovair, with its release management, will allow you to go live. Finally, going live, Kovair's ITSM and continual ALM will then allow you to manage the whole production lifecycle through to retirement. And this slide now shows you a list of all of the third-party vendors that we currently integrate into. In fact, hot off the press, where you see under defect management Jira, we now also integrate completely to Jira as well too. So from reporting, what do we also offer you? Well, we offer you bug reports, project build reports, project health reports, new backlog and work items, task reports, and management reports. If you want any customized reporting, we can also do that in QuickTime as well too. So in the demo today, what are you going to see? Well, we're going to show you a project broken down into releases and sprints. We're going to show you product backlogs in terms of epic features and user stories. We'll show you a product backlog being created. We'll show you the process of a Scrum meeting being recorded, a test case being created, and we'll show you some different reports showing you the sort of traceability from a dashboard perspective. In particular, we're going to show you one particular process. It's a rather simple one for typical backlog processing, but in any event, it will show you what a process looks like. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Soumanil Chowdhury, who will now take you through a demo of Kovair. Thank you, Soumanil.
Thank you, Richard. Let me change the presenter to myself. Welcome everybody. I'm Soumanil Chowdhury from Kovair Softwares, and I'll guide you through the different product features and functionalities and will show you how you can manage your Agile projects using Kovair application. As you know, Kovair is a 100% web-based application. All the features, the functionalities are available across a browser. You do not need a separate tool to manage any of the administrative functions. You just need a browser. It could be Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, it could be Chrome to access Kovair application. So let me log in as an administrator and let me show you how the different objects are being organized in the Kovair application for this Agile solution. Bobby is an administrator who eventually also is a member of the product owner group. And as you can see, once Bobby logs in, here is the list of workspaces that Bobby is currently having access to. Now, for this particular session, for this particular presentation, we will be using the demo Agile solution as the workspace. Now, in Kovair terms, by workspace we mean a work area wherein you can configure your solution and the end users can work on the records. It could be a single Agile solution configured within a workspace, or it could be multiple solutions in a, let's say, in a traditional SDLC model. It could be requirements management, test management, defect tracking, all bundled into one and configured into a single solution. So you can really configure your workspace as per your choice to the particular solution you are trying to implement. Right below the workspace, here you are having an object bar that consists of the different entities that we have defined in this solution. The entities that we have defined for the demo Agile solution are the projects, releases, sprint, product backlogs, Scrum, test cases. And underneath you can find that this is a dashboard that the product owner Bobby is having access to. And this kind of a dashboard gives detailed information about about the various aspects of the information when you are looking into this Agile project or you are working on it. Okay. So let me go, I will come back to this dashboard and the various reports included over here later. So now let me go into the project detail of the particular project we will be using for this presentation. Now for the sake of time, we have created some projects, and for this session I will be using the demo tool integration project. As you can see that this project has been scheduled to be a year-long project starting from December 2010, and it's planned to be finished by 30th of November. A specified budget is also provided. It would take around $120,000 to as the total planned cost that has been estimated. Now this is a custom form for the project entity, and the planned start date and the planned finish date and the rest of the information are available on this form for viewing as well as for modifications and all. Now I would be using the term entity quite a lot in this presentation. So as an entity in Kovair terms, we mean it's a unique characteristic by its own tracking information. An entity is of a similar concept like a logical table in a database. Under an entity you can define different kinds of fields. You can create different kinds of views for displaying the existing data in different formats. You can create filters by means of which you can search relevant records for the ones which you are working. You can define a process for generating the task for the respective users as a record is being submitted under that entity. You can also automate business rules by policies. You can create different kinds of reports, and also you can create different kinds of traceability relationships among the entities and also an entity to itself, so that you can link records among these different entities and thereby can have the advantage of tracking a record, either tracing it forward or backward in managing the different artifacts that you are managing in a particular solution with the different entities. So in this custom form there also exists this relation section where called releases, which has been this particular project has been decided that it would be completed in 3 releases consisting of 4 months each. And as you can see that currently December 2010 to 2011 March release is in progress, and the rest 2 are yet to begin. So this is a relation section which allows you to link relevant records to the parent one. And let me drill down to this release to get to its details. Now, as I move on to the release custom form, here you can find different other fields are available that you are tracking for a release record. Similar to the project form, here also we also have a section called sprints, that a release is broken into further smaller iterations. And here you can find that this December to 2011 March release is broken down into 3 sprints consisting of 4 weeks each or a 1 month duration. The December sprint, which has already been completed, as you can see the percentage completed is 100%. The total actual time spent to implement all the work items under this sprint is 113 hours. And currently January 2011 sprint is in progress. And the March sprint has not yet been entered but will be later on due course. Now let me take you to the product backlogs and show you that how we have organized our product backlogs. Now in Kovair, under an entity, you can create different kinds of entity types. So you can categorize an entity into further subtypes. Over here, using this particular feature, we have categorized the product backlogs into 4 major categories. At the top, we have kept epics. The epics are the customer specifications that are received at a very high level. Now, the epics are broken down into smaller features, and further, a feature is broken down into smaller user stories. Then these user stories are evaluated, they are estimated, assigned to sprints, and eventually gets worked on. So Apart from these three categories, we also have another category called issue, when the testers are testing on the work items that the developers are implementing. So whatever bugs or issues that they're receiving, they can also track that under the product backlog entity under the particular type issue. So in this way, you can create an entity and categorize the different subtypes and can break the entity into a number of subtypes and track the composite of all the types under a single entity. Now here I will log out and log in as an analyst and would start the flow by submitting a user story and would show you how that user story is moving from its transition to end. So let me log in as an analyst called Mark. And here you will find that Kovair allows you to set up different preferences sets for the different users and allows you to land up in different pages based on the frequency and your work that you are doing inside the Kovair application. So as you have seen earlier that once Bobby logged in, he was landed up in the dashboard page, whereas once Mark logs in, it directly lands up on the My Task page. And here are the different workspaces that Mark is having access to. So let me select the particular solution. And here I am taken to the product backlogs land up page directly. So from here I will create a new product backlog. Now based on the different entity types we have created under product backlog, you can create different entity forms for each of these types. So as you can see, here are the various entity forms that we have created. So this is an advantage in Kovair so that the fields created under the same entity are categorized under the different forms so that users who are working on specific types can view only the information or the fields that are pertaining to that particular entity type. So here let me create a user story. Let's say export contact lists to Excel. This is a user story. The responsible, let's say, is a Scrum Master Tom. Let me put in some description for this. And at the same time, let me allow to link this user story to a feature. So here is the release, here is the feature relation section. Relate existing allows me to open up the list of available features that are there with me. I select the contact management as the feature. And save this. Now once I save this user story, the Kovair has an inbuilt process engine that triggers a process and has generated the activities for a particular owner, who is the Bobby, to review this user story and approve it. Also, as an end user, the administrator configures this kind of a process. You can define multiple processes under an entity belonging to each of the types. You can also create multiple versions of a single process and you can manage those separately. Now, as an end user, if you want to view at which particular stage the current pending activity is standing for this entity type or the user story, so here is a process designer image that allows you to view a real-time process and the activities that are currently pending. So as you can see, the blue one is the current pending activity for the product owner to review it. So let me quickly log in as Bobby and show you how you can complete and work on your task. So here once Bobby logs in, he's taken to this dashboard page, and from here I will click on the My Task section. The My Task section is a central inbox kind of a page which enlists all the pending tasks for the logged in user. If the user is having access to multiple workspaces, then the user is will be displayed all the tasks that are coming from all the different workspaces. So the My Task page is independent of any of the workspaces. So here is the task to review. So Bobby logs in, and here is the details of the task form. Here is the source item that this task is belonging to. The activities to review, some instructions are also been provided, and here is the parent field section. The parent field section are actually the fields pertaining to the source entity, which is the user story. But the essence of including this parent field section is you can do your job right from here and do not need to navigate to the different parts of the application to update all this information. So you can concentrate on your task and do all the information you wish to update. So here, let's say Bobby, after reviewing the user story, updates it to approve and assign it to the December 2011 March release, and he feels that the rating to be a must-be feature, a must-be user story to implement. He updates this information, and once done, he can also provide in some comments for other stakeholders to view. So in case of a distributed agile where maybe the different teams are located in different geographical locations, then any member can get into this comment section to view what are the conversations. So here is some comments entered by Bobby that this is quite an interesting thing, and I've approved it. And save this, and with the comment saved and his job done, he completes the task. Now as Bobby has completed this particular task, the completed task is erased out from his plate. And now if I look into the process, refreshing it, here you will find that now the process has moved forward to the estimators to estimate, and now this is the current activity. So now let me go back to the process view and show you who are my estimators. So here you can see Paul and Thomas are the two managers who will be estimating that how much time it might take to implement this user story. So let me quickly log out and log in as one of the managers, Paul, to do the estimation. Now Kovair allows you to do the estimations in various mechanisms. We have implemented a very simple format of planning poker. Here the users can do a very rudimentary level planning poker mechanism and can enter the information in this particular grid. So Kovair have given you a data structure by means of which multiple users can enter the information, multiple information provided by multiple users can be stored with respect to a single record. So let's say during the planning poker mechanism, Paul feels that this would take around 46 hours, let's say 40 hours to implement this user story. With this, he updates his information and he gets into this comment section and provide what are the information that he feels about this user story. So he might reply to Bobby's comments saying, I also feel the same. Let's say so comments entered, and with this Paul completes his task. So now I would log in as Thomas to provide his estimation that what he feels about the estimated time that might take to implement this user story. So let me log in as Thomas. So from this you can very well understand that once every user logs into the application, he very well knows from this pending list of tasks that what are the things that he needs to work on. And it is not being informed by anybody, or he doesn't need to be notified. He can just get into the application and be right on his task. So this is an advantage of a task management system by Kovair over the other state-based management processes. And here actually people are doing their task and the data is getting accumulated at the record level. And also this gives you a real-time task-based management system, which is a very unique feature in Kovair. So here you can see that Thomas looks into the Paul's estimator, but he do not have the right to update the information provided by Paul. He can separately provide his information. Let's say he says it would take around 38 hours, or let's say he feels it would be a bit more. So let's say he says 44 hours to implement this task. So with this, he updates the information and quickly goes and completes his task. So now let me go back to the process list and show you who is the next user who is having the task in his plate. So let me refresh this list, and here you will find that Tom, who is the Scrum Master, is now allocated a task to finalize the estimate provided by these two managers, Paul and Thomas, and also assign resources to this user story, that who eventually will be working on this user story to implement this. So again, let me log in as Tom. And here is the task to finalize the estimate and assign the resources. So quickly going into the task, Tom is also having the parent field section inbuilt into his form. So he can view the different comments provided by the different users. And also here is an average estimated effort provided with the final estimated effort also weighting with the average estimated effort, which Tom would give his final verdict. Also, the developers and the testers list are visible to him so that he can assign who would be the user who will be working on this sprint, this user story. So let's say Tom feels that it would take around 40 hours that he feels to be to implement this user story, and he selects George as the tester and Christiana as the developer, who would be actually working on the implementation of this user story and the testing of it. So information being provided, saved, and Tom comes back to enter some comments in this task. So here, Tom can also very well view the comments provided by the different other users who have already provided their comments. And let's say Tom also add a new comment saying resource being assigned, and let's move forward with the implementation. So comments provided, saved, and you can very well see that the chain of comments provided by the different stakeholders while they are working on this user story are getting stored at the user story level, which are also visible from the task as other people are working on them. So with this, Tom completes the task, and at the same time also, I forgot to mention earlier that here is also the grid available in a read-only mode for Tom to view what are the estimates provided by Paul and Thomas, so that he can get into a discussion with both the users and can understand why they have provided the estimated effort. Now this is a very simple way of entering all the different kinds of estimations in a planning poker mode. Kovair can also implement this estimations to be provided by the different users in a more detailed and a complex level, and I will show you at the later part of the demo that how you can do function point analysis by playing with this planning poker estimations. So currently, Tom goes ahead and complete the task. Now at this point, if I now look into the process list, you would find that the process of this user story waits until it is assigned to a sprint. It's a bit slow now, so please bear with me for that. And let me take you back to the Mark Analyst page and update this process list. And here you can find that once Tom has updated this information, the process is now currently in the synchronized mode. The process is currently in the synchronized mode where it waits. The user story process is currently waiting for the user story to be assigned to a sprint. So this is another advantage of Kovair application process engine, that you can actually synchronize one entity process with the other, so that you can set up some dependency of ones on the other working. So in another example, you can say that you can take a requirement process to wait until you can wait the release process until all the requirements assigned to that release has not been completed. Sorry. So now, as Tom, I will assign this user story to a particular sprint. So to do that, here under the sprint entity, we have this traceability matrix, by means of which we get a graphical interface which allows me to link a user story to a sprint. So here are the different relationships that a sprint is having with the other entities. I select the sprint backlog, and underneath here are the sprint filters. I select the recent sprints, and here I select the user stories which has been approved but currently not yet assigned to sprints. So with this, the matrix gets filtered with the product backlogs are shown on the columns and the sprints on the right. So here you can see the last one is the one we started with, and let's say we link it just by double clicking on the consistent set. The moment we do it, that's removed, as because now it is violating the filter. Now it's violating the filter, and that's why it's no more shown in this traceability matrix. Now at this level, I go back to the user story, and if I now refreshes the screen, you would find that the process has moved out from the synchronized node and currently with the developer to start implementing this user story. Now who is the developer? The developer is the one out of all those that Tom has assigned while doing the resource assignment. So here you can find that the job is now with Christiana to code, and let me log in as Christiana to work on her task. So let me log out as Tom. Now let's say at this point, let's wait before working on the Christiana's work, and let's say we create as a Scrum Master, let's go ahead and create a Scrum. So here, let's say, before going for, here is a Scrum record that you can track. Now in case of the geographical locations where it's rare that all the groups of users of all the team members are sitting in one single place to do a common meeting, instead you can also have, if you are in different locations, so a web-based application and tracking a Scrum in using this application can be really very helpful. So here you can see Tom is entering a Scrum record, let's say Scrum meeting on 21st/01/2011, and here the meeting date is, let's 21st. The next meeting date is let's say on 25th, The Scrum Master is Tom. The different users are Bobby, Christiana, let's say George. These are the different users. You can also enter some comments. Let's say remarks for Scrum meeting, and you can save this. Now, as you have saved the Scrum meeting, now this is open to the different users like Christiana or George to enter their comments and enter their feedback about what they feel about the different impediments that they are facing, or what are the backlogs that they have implemented last week, what they would be implementing it in the next week. So all this information can be provided and they can be tracked through this Scrum. So now let's say I log in as Christiana, and let me first work on that task and show you how he can also provide information on the Scrum. So as Christiana logs in, she can get to the Scrum and can update her feelings about this information. So as you can see here, she has already got a job to code, and here, let's say she get into her task, and in the first day, let's say she has worked on 10 hours. Here is the parental section that shows how much time she has actually spent. She can track it down and also provide what is the amount of time that she feels it's left with. So let's say at this moment, she feels that after working for 10 hours, so she enters 10, but she still feels that she would require another 35 hours to complete this job. So updating the information, he saved this, and based on the information that she has provided, the percentage completed has automatically been calculated to 22. The total time is 45, though the final estimated effort provided by Tom earlier is still showing 40. So this information is really very helpful from the other user's perspective, also from the developer, that whether the time she or he is taking in implementing a user story is going hayward or really is on track. So at this point, she can also get into a Scrum and provide what are the challenges that she is facing in implementing this user story, and why the amount of time she is taking more in implementing or in coding this user story. So she can get into the Scrum meeting and hear the details of it. In this particular section is a relation section that it's linked to the product backlog, where she can provide what are the backlogs that she has implemented in the earlier sessions. So she can click on this relate existing and can link the user stories that he has implemented in the last few days. So let's say she selects these user stories that she has implemented, and also she can link the particular user story that she is currently working on. So from this relation section, she links the user story export contacts to Excel, the one she is currently working on. So she can say last 5, locate the user story, and link it to this Scrum. Also, she can provide some information about the impediments and the backlogs that she is facing with this user story. So she can also go ahead and enters the impediments that she is facing regarding the backlogs. So I'm now going back into the task page once again, and with this, again going back, let's say she comes back to her task again in the next 2 days, and she says now she has already worked for, let's say, 25 hours. she has already worked for 25 hours and still feels that she would another take 10 hours to implement this job. So here you can find that the percentage complete would increase to a certain extent. It's 71%. So she is already 5 hours ahead, 5 hours more that she has taken. And now let's say she finally says that she has taken 47 hours, this is the actual time spent, and the estimated time complete is now 0. So she has completed a job and now the job is done. With this information, she saves her part, and this shows that the percentage complete is 100%, and currently the estimated time to complete is 0, though it was estimated to be 40 hours. So with this, you can complete the task. And here, if I now go back to the user story from Tom Masters, from Mark Analyst, and here if I now look into the user story view with the recent backlogs, so here you can see that you can also have this kind of a bar chart which shows that what's the actual time spent on this user story and the percentage complete. And in terms of a colored bar, you can track this information of other backlogs also. In this case, you can find that its actual time spent is 12 hours and still 48 hours to go. So this kind of colored bar fields are also very important if you want to display the time in various formats. So now at this stage, let me log out and log in as Scrum Master. And as a Scrum Master, if I would like to say that if I want to view that what are the different artifacts that were being included in implementing this user story. So at a very high level, from the traceability view, Kovair allows you to view all the artifacts that has been managed in this entity items in a hierarchical view. So you can very well remember that we started with a project and then we got into the releases. Under the releases, we have the related sprints. The December sprint is already over. Under the January sprint, we are currently working on, and here is the user story that we submitted today. Finally, drilling down from this user story, we get to the features that we link this user story to, and this feature is linked to the epic on the other hand. So this kind of traceability, nested traceability view gives you the sense. I'm sorry. This kind of a nested traceability view gives you the sense of tracking the different entity items, either moving forward or backward. Now, I would not go into the process of this backlogs any further, which is currently now stays with George to test. So now I would move on to the dashboards to show you the different areas that has been that the different information that you can track from the various reports. So all the Kovair allows you to create different kinds of reports and graphical, textual and graphical reports. All can be included in a user's dashboard, and also some quick links to navigate to the specific parts of the application. Here you can see that the different releases that are currently getting worked on and what's the total amount of time, the estimated time to complete such releases. Also, you can have a more detailed level look that what's the amount of time that's being taken at the user story level. So here you can see that this user story which we submitted is completed with the information that we have provided. So here, apart from the textual part, you can also have some burn down charts that shows you how the project is, how a particular sprint is getting worked on and what's the amount of time left based on a particular date, tracking on a per day basis. So you can have this kind of rich burn down charts configured from the applications, tracking the different work estimated hours to complete. Also at a very higher level, you can track the burn down charts at the project levels also, where you can have multi-level projects burn downs tracked into one single graph. You can also have this Gantt charts where you can see the progress of the task by the different users, how much time left by each of the users to complete their task. So another aspect which could be very useful from the task management perspective of the Agile solution. Also, you can have this kind of a graphical reports where you can see the distribution of the priorities, distribution of the criticality of the product backlogs of the different user stories on the priority. But these are not, none of the reports in Kovair dashboards are static, but you can click on any of these sectors to find which are the records that are getting that are satisfying this particular bar, and you can further drill down from this record to its details. So all real-time graphical reports are available on the dashboard. You can also have this kind of pie chart distributions showing different statuses of the backlogs at real time. And also you can also have textual reports of the different tasks by the different users that they are currently having pending on. Now these are the different kinds of reports. Also you can have multi-level pie chart distributions and all that you can embed into the dashboard. The only report that you cannot include in a dashboard is a word report, which is very powerful in Kovair in terms of that you can lend it to the developers and testers. Let's say you have such a release document that you have your project managers are creating on a weekly or on a monthly basis, where all the information related to a release, including the sprints, the user stories, the amount of time spent, the estimated time, all information are being tracked over there. So you can have such a report generated on the fly from the Kovair application. So Kovair has a word add-in that allows you to track the templates and include all the information within that template in the document. And once you upload that document, it would extract the contents of Kovair and would place it by the specified format of Word document. So here you can see it's a real-time table of contents generated on the fly. So here you can see this is the user story we inserted under this user, under the sprint, and you can very well see it over here. Here you can see all the details applied with specific formats, with all the information being provided. So let me locate the user story we entered. So here is the user story we entered. You can find that what's the total amount of time estimated, the total final estimation, then the total amount of time taken by Christiana to implement this. You can also view the estimations provided by Paul and Thomas for the planning poker. So a lot of effort required in implementing this kind of user story, in implementing this kind of a Word document is relieved by Kovair, and relieves you from creating such a document on the fly. So apart from that, you can also have multiple distributions, multi-level distributions of different reports, like a distribution of status over a priority. So various kinds of reports can really be created in Kovair. Due to the shortage of time, I couldn't go through all the different kinds of reports, but honestly speaking, yes, Kovair allows you to have real good visibility into the projects that you are tracking inside the application. So with this note, I complete my presentation, the product presentation, and I am open now for the different questions that you have that myself and Richard will be happy to answer. So
okay. So I've got, so Soumanil, I've got a couple of questions over here. Do you have any questions? Would you like to start by reading your questions first, or shall I start with mine?
Yeah, you can go ahead with the questions that you're having.
Okay. So first of all, someone's asked me over here, can we integrate traditional approaches alongside Agile? So that's a very good question. Now remember Agile, remember Kovair is an ALM. It's an application lifecycle management system. What you are seeing over here is a workspace that we have created within that ALM specifically for Agile. And that workspace is completely customizable and configurable. So we can add to it, we can take away from it, or you can just use ours right out of the box, which is a very traditional Agile approach, and implement immediately to get that power of the distributed Agile environment. However, having said all of that, because it's an ALM, you can also implement the more traditional SDLC. So, for example, if you decide that your testing process is much more along a more traditional iterative approach that you would normally experience in an SDLC, you can. And so that, in fact, is why you would have noticed that in one of my slides, I coined the term Agile SDLC. Because, in fact, SDLC still is very powerful in some of the parts of the development and product marketization. So, once again, Kovair can actually implement more than one approach within a particular workspace. I have another question over here. So I have a different, someone said over here, I have a different estimation tool. Can I integrate? Absolutely. You would have noticed that because of the lack of time, we went through and just touched planning poker. We also then looked at some variations of planning poker in terms of estimation. But if you have your own estimation tool, you can integrate within Kovair. Now, typically, a third-party integration tool will take somewhere between 4 and 8 man-weeks to develop. But the more complicated, or when I say more complicated, I refer to tools that generally have less documentation, can take up to 12 man-weeks. But in any event, if there's a way of talking to that tool, Kovair will supply an XML exchange to that tool, and so we can integrate. So if you have your own estimation tool that you use, in fact, if you even have an estimation tool across geographies, we can integrate to that. So you don't have to have necessarily one estimation tool, you can have multiple.
So Richard, on that particular note, let me go ahead and show that the estimation that you can be done at a more complex level.
Wonderful.
So at this product backlog, you, apart from the effort estimation grid that we showed you, you can also have a more detailed level estimations by doing it on a functional point analysis. Here is the effort estimation grid that allows you to enter the data per user, and here are the different object story points that you can say that how they input data, what's the complexity, what are the number of function complex points, what is the estimate mechanisms that you are using. Also, you can provide some estimated value, and based on that, if you set the adjustment factor to something and you save this, then automatically here the effort adjusted would be calculated based on that. So this also gives you another way of doing some estimations on Kovair, and not only this, we can really implement any kind of mechanism that allows you to do it. Okay.
May I just add that you would have noticed in the selection of the estimation mechanism, you would have noticed that Soumanil chose planning poker, but very quickly under that selection, you would have noticed a jelly bean type mechanism. There's also entropy measures, etc. So just to demonstrate that, in fact, we can link into any type of measurement.
Richard, I have a question. It's saying
yes.
They have the customer is saying he's having Jira for all task tracking purposes. Do you provide a business value analysis templates for implementation of Kovair in such scenarios? So to answer that, yes, we have currently implementing an adapter for Jira, which is right at the verge of completion. So what you can do is you can track your tasks at Jira and you can import those tasks using Kovair Omnibus into Kovair. And then you can have all those tasks in your specified templates in Kovair, and you can manage those in such scenarios. So that can very well be done.
And as I said, hot off the press, the Jira integration has just been completed as well too. Sorry, Soumanil, another question?
Yeah, so next question is, can we assign multiple resources for a task and have a different number of estimated hours assigned to each resource? No, in that case, you have to create two different tasks for two different users, because the task is the lowest unit on the whole, and if you are allocating a planned duration for those tasks to complete, then has to be in two different tasks altogether. It could be like it's generating from a process, or it could be manual tasks also that you can allot in Kovair for the different owners. The next question is, can we consider that we can integrate this with the requirement management, test management, configuration management tools? Yes, very true. You can definitely do this with any of the management solutions that you are tracking outside the scope of the application Kovair, or you are tracking, let's say, requisite for requirements management, you are using HP Quality Center for test, and you are using ClearCase for configuration management or Subversion for configuration management. You can all integrate all those tools and can have the data exchange between Kovair as well as in these tools. So yes, can very well be done with our Agile solution. So
I just have one more question. Sorry, Soumanil.
So yeah, Richard, you please go ahead with the question that you are leading.
Okay, so I have one more question over here. It's around pricing. Now, we have done quite a lot of investigation over the last years in terms of our competitors, and our price point is very attractive. Having said that, I would encourage you to make contact with us, because we have two pricing models. We have perpetual license, and we also have a SaaS offering. So if you'd like to make contact through Kovair, please do so. In particular, I myself have had an Agile background of more than 8 years myself, and right down to a development level. If you would like to contact me and have a chat about how I am using Kovair across a multitude of projects for clients, I'd be more than happy to also chat to you about that. Please make contact through Kovair, but otherwise my private email, or my Kovair email rather, is rsatur, as in R-S-A-T-U-R, @kovair.com. And feel free to give me a call, and I'd be more than happy, including talking to the gentleman or the lady that gave the question around using multiple resources on a task. I'd be more than happy to demonstrate how Kovair aligns itself to something like that, in particular at a user story level. So please make contact, and I'd be happy to explain how you can use Kovair to manage such situations.
Thank you, Richard. Since we do not have any further questions, okay, great. Okay, I have another point. If a task is big of say 40 hours, it has to be broken as separate tasks, but will there be a subtask of one main parent task, so that we know how much of the total hours are going to take for the main task?
So Soumanil, do you mind if I answer that one, please?
Sure. Please go ahead.
Okay. So the answer is yes, you can. The idea, remember that when we first started this presentation, I indicated that everything is an entity. So the entities that we've shown you today, and in fact this also goes to a previous question in relation to breaking down a task, or possibly even using multiple resources on a task. The way that we have constructed this demo to try and get it in such a short period of time is we've shown you epics, user stories, and backlog items or tasks. Now, the fact of the matter is that Kovair treats every data item as an entity. So if you refine that model slightly, you can in fact track any number of levels within that. So you would have noticed that we didn't show you themes because we didn't have enough time to do so. Equally, we could have, if you think of an agile type scrum meeting where, you know, typically you'd be putting post-it notes all around the place, and then you'd be trying to get those post-it notes down to very clear and concise and manageable sprint type or deliveries, then typically you'd even refine your entities within Kovair down to that sort of level as well too. But within the space of the demo, we weren't able to show you that. But certainly, you can refine the model down or up to track all of that information, given that Kovair works with entities.
Okay, Richard, thank you for your reply. Yes, due to the shortage of time, we could only show you some glimpses of Kovair regarding the features and functionalities that you can manage for maintaining an agile solution. If you want a further detailed level demo, you can contact sales@kovair.com. You can send your queries over there if you want a custom demo to be conducted at your request. So please contact sales@kovair.com, and we will be happy to address your call. So thank you from our end, and with this note we end this webinar. Good day everybody, and have a nice weekend.
And thank you all for attending from India and Australia. Greatly appreciated. Have a good day everyone.
Bye-bye.